So now it comes down to the final bowl game of the season, the national championship game. The scene is Tempe, Arizona, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. The Alabama State Hornets are now sitting on a 52-game winning streak that goes all the way back to the start of season 7. Winning this national championship game will put the icing on the cake, making it 53 wins, and we get out of the Fiesta Bowl as back-to-back national champions. That is the goal. Now we must prepare for our next opponent. It's been a great journey so far. We've had to fight through some adversities. Over the last 2 games, our offense have not looked spectacular, but this defense is playing lights out right now. And this is what Joseph Cooley envisioned when he took over this football program. Remember back in season 2, after Alabama State went 0-3, all the Hornet fans and the alumni, they wanted him fired. However, 9 SWAC titles and 2 national championships later, we haven't heard a peep out of one single student or one single alumni person. So with that being said, who are we preparing for? We're preparing for the Big Ten champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes, who had to beat Michigan in the last game of the season to get here. Michigan was number 1 for most of the season, but when they met up, Ohio State did what they had to do. So here they are, meeting us in the Fiesta Bowl. Now, this isn't our first time playing Ohio State. Remember, we played them twice back in season 4. The first time we played them in school history, we went up to the Horseshoe and we just got killed by Shaun Wade. And of course, this punt return by Jalen Green, who is now in the NFL, I believe with the Miami Dolphins. That's who drafted him. He took this thing all the way back to the crib, but the rest of the way was all about Shaun Wade and that offensive line. Now, Shaun Wade rushed for, I forgot, it was either 3 or 4 touchdowns on us. He dominated the night. He straight put us in a spliff. We lost by more than 3 positions. But when we met up later on that season in Detroit, Michigan during bowl season, we was in the Motor City Bowl. It was our second time taking on Ohio State in the same season, and it was our chance to get payback, and that's exactly what we did. Cal Gray's last season, his last game as a Hornet, he went into the end zone on that option run, but big play swag Tim Brown's catch is one of the most memorable moments of this game and the history of the Alabama State football program. Big play swag Tim Brown has some crazy catches throughout his time at Alabama State. This game was pretty competitive in the first half, but the second half came and the Hornets ran away with it, starting with Cedric McNeil's big interception. Justin Chambers had a big game, and of course, how can we forget baby Randy Moss, Kevin Smith making his last touchdown reception as a college football athlete in his senior season versus his former team that he initially committed to. We dominated Ohio State, getting our payback for the loss early on in the season, and then we wouldn't play them again until season 9 and our home turf. It was a top 5 matchup, and whoever won this game was most likely going to that national championship game at season's end. Now remember, Ohio State, they were the defending national champions coming into this game. They had just beat Texas A&M in the Natty down in the Orange Bowl in Miami. And it was back and forth throughout this entire game. Steve Bosick had the best running game performance in his collegiate career, rushing for well over 250 yards. And of course, he had 2 tutties in this game. Look at Ryan Anderson coming in for the nickel spot. Tommy Chavez and Deadpool were just on a straight clinic. Tommy Chavez was absolutely amazing in this game. Deadpool was a monster. And this defense finally came through when we needed them to. We're not right here though. Reggie Bush Anderson, he straight killed us the entire game. Had 2 touchdown receptions and a kick return on us. But this punt return right here by Chad Hamilton turned out to be the most important play of the day. And that was just enough to get us over the hump over the Ohio State Buckeyes, who suffered their first loss of the season and their first loss, I believe, in 2 or 3 years. That was a big win for the Alabama State Hornets. So this will be our 4th time playing Ohio State in this series. Speaking of 4th, this is our 4th national championship game appearance in the last 6 years. How can we forget the first appearance where we had the Heisman Trophy winner, The Doak Walker Award winner and the Maxwell winner, Gene Speedy Singleton, run that game-winning touchdown in, beating the Oklahoma Sooners by 4 and taking on our first ever BCS National Championship title. What a time that was and what a game that was. And then we went back in season 6, and yeah, LSU straight put us in a spliff. They ran all over us. John Green had an amazing game. And how can we forget this run right here by Morris, their starting running back, impact player. Straight ran over 3 of our defenders and took that thing to the crib. And of course, how can we forget the dreaded fullback run up the middle when the game was already decided. LSU straight destroyed us in this game. Remember, in the first half, they scored 35 unanswered points, and that pretty much put the game out of reach. But we would redeem ourselves after being screwed for the next 2 years. In season 9, we went back to the national championship game, and this time we defeated the Texas A&M Aggies, the team that Ohio State defeated the year prior in the national championship game down in Miami. Sheldon Money Green had the game of his life. 2 big touchdown receptions. He was on a straight clinic. Of course, this was Deadpool's last game. He was absolutely amazing, throwing 4 touchdown passes, I believe it was. In the end, we were the national champions. Now we're looking to hold on to that title. And how can we forget Steve Rokobasic putting an exclamation mark on the game with that touchdown run? We beat Texas A&M 48-21, and now we're in the national championship game for the 4th time in 6 years. Now for the Ohio State Buckeyes, this will be their 2nd national championship game appearance in the last 3 years. Last season they defeated, take that back. 2 years ago, they defeated the Texas A&M Aggies. Now remember, Texas A&M as of now have won the Big 12 for the last 3 seasons. Reggie Bush Anderson taking this ball up the left side, punt return for a touchdown, and that pretty much set the tone for the rest of the game for Ohio State. It was pretty much on from there. They scored on offense. They even scored on defense. Here goes the toss play right here. Look at this run right here up the right side. Now Ohio State has a fire run game. A very fire run game that we need to be ready for. They're also good at defense. And of course, how can we forget this pick 6? Now they do have playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. So Dan Finnerty has to be very careful and make sure he does not turn the ball over. In the end, this should be a pretty interesting matchup. We're coming in as the number 1 team in this game for the first time ever. We're not going to be ranked number 2. But we will be rocking the icy white uniforms because that's what we keep winning our bowl games with, the national championship games with. So join us next time, man. Tempe, Arizona is the scene. We're taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes for that crystal ball. Can we win another national championship game? It will be our 3rd one in 6 years. Thank you for watching. Peace.